What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Viall's Bachelor in Paradise Recap Edition. Hope you are enjoying your day, whatever day it is that you decided to tune in and listen to the best hot takes in Bachelor Nation. We have a fantastic episode for you. The wonderful Ali Barthwell is with us today to help us break down these two episodes. I discovered Ali on Twitter. She has been recapping Bachelor episodes for Vulture for some time now. She is an incredibly accomplished writer, and I'll let Ali say hi and kind of break down what she's all about as well. But we have an absolute fantastic episode for you today because, one, there's a lot to talk about, and two, Ali is with us with some wonderful hot takes. Everything she puts out there, what I love about it, because Allie's not a part of Bachelor Nation in the sense that she hasn't been in it, and yet as someone who has, I really respect the people who can be critical and objective and have some great takes, and Allie is one of those people. So Allie, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me. Oh, what an intro.
You're great. So high expectations, though, Allie. High expectations.
Okay, wow. Really got to live up to it now. Thank you so much.
I'm not worried at all. Before we break down the episode, just a couple housekeeping notes. We do have an absolute dynamite episode for you tomorrow. The one and only Michael A. is with us. Michael, as you know him from Katie's season, just a really great discussion with Michael. He is just truly an incredible guy, having met with him and sat down with him. There's so much more to Michael, as we often realize than what you saw on the show, and he talks a lot about his future, the prospects of him being the next Bachelor, more detail about life before the show, so you definitely don't want to miss that. And if nothing else, make sure to check out our Ask Nick episodes on every Monday. Send in your questions at asknick@castmedia.com, cast with a K, if you're interested in interesting, heartfelt relationship stories and advice. If you're into that sort of thing, you definitely will not want to miss those episodes. Anything else I'm missing, Chrissy?
Nope, I think you got it.
All right. Well, Allie, let's get to it.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
the villainy, the rapscallionry, the roguery that is going on this beach it's incredible. It's like at a level that we haven't seen in a long time, and it's so blatant and like barefaced that I think is the issue for me.
Yeah. There really is so much to discuss and peel back. So let's try to keep on track. You know, obviously the Piper and Brendan is the biggest thing to discuss, and even that I want to almost talk about like their plan and their crime and how poorly it executed, and then we'll get into, you know, some of the more triggering topics of just how it's like, it's one thing to go and be on the TV show and lean into that, but like how they, or their lack of empathy towards Natasha is a whole nother discussion. And so we will get into that as well. But a lot of it was fascinating, like you said, because it was almost just, even for myself, like shocking their lack of self-awareness, or just the fact it's like, hey, it's a TV show, but then they forgot it was a TV show.
Yeah, it's like you are mic'd. There are cameras everywhere. Like they got night vision cameras in the bang room. Like, why do you think you're hiding anything?
Yeah, it made no sense. But let's try to keep on track. Let's start where the episode on Monday picks off, and it's with these two episodes. It's like almost like, oh my God, Kendall and Joe, we forgot they're even on the beach, but yet the episode kicks off with Kendall, you know, coming down as we saw last week, and Kendall and Joe talking. We all love Joe. You know, Kendall, I've met her. She's nice. I guess long story short, there's a lot of discussions in these past couple weeks, and especially these two episodes. And it's what kicks off what I kind of call like triangle week. Like there's all the triangulation of all these various relationships really came to a head. And it starts with Joe, Kendall, and then you have Serena. And I guess long story short, I just really didn't think anything Kendall said ultimately made sense, because for all the people who could have dealt with their stuff outside of the beach, no one more than Kendall, because that was a legitimate relationship. They had dated for 2 years. That was real substance stuff. And it seemed like, for all the, what was stopping Kendall from doing what she did? And it seemed like clearly it was because she needed Joe to go on TV for her to step up to the plate, so to speak. And then when she did, I would have been totally fine if she's like, listen, I say what you want. I shouldn't have but the TV aspect freaked me out. Why didn't she just come with like an actual like actionable plan? Like I get you don't want to move for a man, but then that's a real non-negotiable.
Yeah, this was a conversation that should have been handled at a strip mall Panera over coffee and like a sad salad. Like this is something that you handle right after the breakup. And it seems like there is a little bit of Kendall almost wanting to rewrite exactly what happened after the breakup, rather than saying like, oh, we did something wrong. There was some fight that we didn't resolve. It sounds like it all was resolved.
Yeah. And then I love how Joe was just like, hey, you're leaving out a big part. And, then we get into the he said, she said. And I guess to me, none of all that really matters because as we know, when we break up and especially when conversations happen a while back, so easily we forget. But it was more what she said to Joan. It was like, she literally was like, I don't know even what I want or what I'm saying. I just want you in my life at some capacity. And it's just like, well, what is that? And what is someone like Joe who, what they both agree about is that there are still real feelings there. And you know what? That happens all the time in life. You can have real feelings for someone and for whatever reason say, we can't make this work. And for all the conversations about relationships between your pet peeves and your non-negotiables, long distance is a legit non-negotiable. When you have two people who are like, listen, I don't say what you want. My family's here and my family's, that's fine. And it is heartbreaking and sad, but it's still justified. But yet Kendall comes down with this, I'm not willing to move. I know you're not going to move. Let's be best. What is that? Let's be best. I don't understand.
She's saying that Joe's non-negotiable shouldn't count as a reason why the relationship didn't work. So she wants to find another reason why the relationship didn't work. And it doesn't seem like there is one. And, you can't if someone says I have this non-negotiable, whether, my mom always jokes, it's like kids, money, and religion are like the three biggest non-negotiables in a relationship. You got to handle those three things the same way. And it sounds like this came down to kids. Where do we want to raise our kids? Where do we want to start a family? And you can't tell someone that their non-negotiable isn't a good enough reason to end the relationship. That's why it's a non-negotiable.
That was so well said. Kendall was trying to come up with a new reason why the relationship didn't work. That was so good.
And I think it's also like this romanticization of our breakups that for each relationship we have to have learned a lesson and gathered some wisdom, and now we hold a piece of this person's heart in our heart. And it's like sometimes you don't want to live in the same place, and sometimes his friends fucking suck, and sometimes his mom is weird to you, and that just is it. And there's nothing to learn or discover about yourself. It just doesn't work. And I think Kendall wants it to be this bigger, narrative that something about them didn't work or didn't click, or there's something in her and Joe and it's like, she didn't want to move to Chicago, which as a person in Chicago, it's a great city, in my opinion, better than LA. It's way cheaper, at least. It's like, that's a perfectly fine reason. And you don't learn anything from that other than, hey, if this is a non-negotiable, if me not moving is going to be an issue, I should know that up front in a relationship.
Next time she meets a guy who lives in Chicago, she should just be like, I know how this plays out. And that's fine. So, yeah. And then go ahead.
Do either of you think that her narrative is part of the reason why she went there? Just to make sure Joe wasn't only saying one side of the relationship?
No, I don't think it was that. I think she just didn't like that Joe was on TV, and I think it was triggering for her, and I think that's the part that is, again, for all the talk about you didn't need to do this on the beach, you're here for TV. I just don't see how we can look at it any other way that Kendall kind of came for TV or to stop Joe from creating a new story on TV. It was the TV of it all because she's had 2 years, like you said, to go to Panera and like order a salad and not eat it and have a weird conversation that goes nowhere.
Yeah.
So, and then she's like weirdly staying, like, okay.
Yeah. It felt more of a like, well, if you're going to do this, I get to do this too.
Yeah.
And not in a malicious way, but just sort of like, oh, I didn't know this was an option. But if you get to do this, I get to do this. It's like, okay, I guess, girlfriend. Like, are you going to have fun?
Yeah.
Probably not.
This was a week where many of the men really tapped into their fuckboy side by not, like, even Kenny up until this week was being pretty upfront, being direct, just owning their decisions. And now we get into the week where like the guys just talked a lot and said absolutely nothing.
And here's my thing. If you go be a fuckboy, be good at it. That's the thing, is none of these men are good at it because they're not. I wonder if they're not used to having to like come up with these stories or keep their story straight, or like, if you're stringing, and we'll get to the Brendan and Piper and the even like looking ahead, like the Chris and Jasenia of it all. It's like, if you're going to string a woman along so you can just stay there till somebody else comes, it's like, don't convince her you're in love with her. Don't convince her that you're having this romantic moment with her. Just do the bare minimum. The fuckboy has discovered the art of doing the bare minimum, and all of these men were doing way too much.
We talk a lot about meeting your health and wellness goals, and we have another great digital fitness platform for you. And we have Obey here for you to help you meet your goals. Obey is a premium digital fitness platform that brings the variety you crave, the instructors you love, and the results you want to any screen, anywhere, with 15 class types, such as HIIT, HIIT, for those of you who don't, you know it. Dance, cardio, yoga, sculpture, strength, and more. Obey has something for every mood. Very affordable, $27 a month, unless if you sign up for their quarterly or annual subscription. You can stream Obey from any screen, your tablet, your phone, your TV screen. What I love about Obey is that they have thousands of no equipment classes. So like all you need is your body weight and a place to move around, and you can get a really awesome workout. It's friendly, it's fun. Again, just mixing it up is a great way to stay in shape. So check out Obey, especially if you're stuck inside and you don't want to waste money at the gym and you don't want to drive. Anytime, anywhere, meet your goals with Obey. Use our code VIALL to get 1 month free of Obey. Visit obeyfitness.com. That is OBEFITNESS.com to start your trial today. Commit to yourself this fall with Obey Fitness. Obey is offering Viall File listeners a free month trial. Just visit obeyfitness.com and use code VIALL. Rothy's, hey, they have been a friend of the show since we started this whole thing, and Rothy's finally, I think it's because I finally complained enough. Rothy has the same great shoes for men now. That's right. Rothy's shoes that have no break-in period. They're made from recyclable plastics. They're stylish. They're comfortable. They look great. They feel great. And now the men can enjoy them as well because they've been making women's feet look great for a long time now. And now us guys can jump on the Rothy's bandwagon. For you women out there, they still have the great same shoes and handbags available to you with a bunch of great styles, and they are eco-friendly and again are made from recyclable plastic, easy to clean, fun to wear, durable, safe for the planet. The list goes on of how great they are. Forbes calls Rothy's men's shoes a travel must-have. That's right, great for traveling, it's a perfect airport shoe. Slip on, slip off, look good, feel great, can't say enough. Keep the summertime feeling going with washable, sustainable, stylish shoes and bags from Rothy's. Head to rothys.com/VIAL to find your new warm weather favorites. That's ROTHYS.com/VIALL. Can't say enough about the Rothy's. So many of my women friends have them. I've wanted to have them. I got them. I love them. Whew, get your Rothy's. Accept the bare minimum with being honest, because up until this point, Brendan his goal was to do, in fact, the bare minimum.
The bare minimum.
And yet, when forced to just be upfront or lie at the risk of going home, he always opted for the lie. And he justified it in his mind by saying, I haven't really done anything with Natasha. Like, he kept justifying to himself by like, what's really the crime? You could tell like that's what he was thinking.
Yeah.
And
or I'm doing her a favor because she gets to stay another week.
Yeah.
Without realizing, if you go back and look, he is actually convincing her to stay with him. She has moments where she's like, I could maybe pursue other people, or what is happening between us. And he doesn't say like, well, this is a friendship rose, or, you should feel beholden to me. He has those moments where he kind of gets right on that edge of being like,
he never fully lets her go. And, we're obviously going to bounce around. There was a part where Joe was talking, where Brennan was talking to Natasha, and he said to Natasha, when I gave you that rose, I said, you deserve love, even if it's not with me. Now, that wasn't aired. And so when Brennan first said that, I'm thinking, oh, well, okay. And then I thought to myself, wait a second. That was week 1. That was when the guys had the roses. You went a whole nother week of needing Natasha to give you a rose. So whatever you said to Natasha when you gave her that rose was completely negated by you making sure you got Natasha's rose to get to Piper. So like it doesn't matter what happened.
Yeah, this is an audio medium, but I am nodding. I'm nodding vigorously.
Yeah. So it was just like, he almost had me. I was like, oh, well, if you said that, okay, maybe it's edited, but you didn't get to see it. But I was like, well, wait a second. Like, no, that was a whole week earlier. So
she gave you a full shirt off massage, sir.
Yes.
Like, establish the boundaries earlier.
Yes, and yeah. So okay, we'll dive more into that. So then we get into just props. I guess I just want to acknowledge that maybe Joe was the original chin grabber, because in the weird Kendall and Joe montage, we saw the play out of Riley's playbook. I've never seen so much chin grabbing for the makeout, and apparently it's a thing. So Riley and Joe can debate who was the originator of the chin grab. So now we kick off like Mari is now, deciding she still likes Kenny. The Mari Kenny Demi ended up being a mess. Definitely Demi, I really, even as my friend, really hated how she approached the rejection of it all. She definitely didn't rise above, and ultimately, I just don't think Kenny likes Demi at all. And Mari was a classic case for guy or girl, I don't care. But like when you break up with someone because either you want more options or you are unsure about your relationship, whatever Mari says, she ultimately tried to fuckboy Kenny or break up with Kenny by saying, I don't know, I don't want to commit to this right now. And then as a result of what is either a combination of greed, it's like the greed and boredom of it all in dating. You date someone early on and you're just like, oh, you're nice, but like, I don't know. I got like 14 other matches on Tinder and I kind of like them. And then, so you get greedy, but then those don't pan out and you get a little bit bored. And now Mari's bored. So she swerves back to Kenny, and it's just like, okay, that's fine. But we've seen this in life all the time where people, we always talk about like going back to your ex. It's like, yeah, maybe it'll work out, probably not, but just know they lost the patience that they thought they had when it came to finding something better, and now they're just bored enough to tell you that they've learned their lesson and they truly love you. And that's essentially what Mari's doing.
Yeah, and I don't think that is so bad, because like, again, as like sort of a viewer of this as a very rich text about dating, it's not a bad thing to be like, we're dating casually, like nobody has any expectations of the other person. But I think the structure of the show forces these people into exclusivity way too early. And everything that both of them were saying are completely acceptable if you were like out in the real world. It's like, I've gone on 2 dates with this guy. I kind of like him. We're already making plans, but I got these other dates lined up. So I'm going to go on my other dates. And in real life, he just wouldn't know you were going on other
Yeah.
dates. Like he just wouldn't have access to your phone. Here, it's like the phone is in front of you. The Tinder is walking amongst you. So I don't think what she said was, to me, was like, fine. He took it as this like amazing, complete rejection, went and ran off with Mari or with Demi and did a date with Tia. And it's like, sir, she's saying, hey, I actually do still want to pursue you. And rather than looking at like, we're going back and we have to go, we're continuing this thing. It's like, just say we're starting back at day one. Like, this is our new day one. From this point, we're going to decide how we want to date each other and let's go forward.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I didn't have a problem with Mari saying that. It was more Mari's reaction to Kenny's reaction. And you're right. You make a excellent point that it's like casually dating online and having having access to everyone's inbox that you're casually dating.
Right.
And
it's like, what a nightmare. Yeah. What a true disaster.
True nightmare. And to your point, you're right. They are all forced to, like, the world's hyperbolic. It's truly comical. The strongest couple takes, so I thought you were the strongest couple. If someone tells you that you're the strongest couple, watch it. Like, that's a heads up warning that you need to be very careful with how you manage your relationships.
That's Chekhov's rose. Like, it's exploding at some point in the future. Like, you don't bring it up in act 1 if it ain't going off in act 3.
Yeah, it's a lot of everyone's, the strongest couple, whatever. So finally, Piper shows up. Piper, Piper, I'm here for Brendan. Bam, that's it. That's been done before for sure. How they chose to air it, clearly the show is going to lean into, they've been set, like, we've seen, this has been set up literally since episode 1 of this drama. So the show leans into Piper just saying, I'm here for Brendan. Piper comes in, she asks Brendan out immediately. I know a lot of people made a big deal about the fact that she asked Brendan out. That's really a show element. That's that's production. Like, honestly, whether people poll 10 people or shoot, like, a lot of people come in with an idea who they want to take out, and sometimes they have to go through their motions.
There's been less of either they're not showing it or it's not happening, of that thing of, I'm going to take all the women aside and see who are the open guys, or I'm going to take all the guys aside and, like, see who's paired up. So it's even like, if they're not showing it, then they're not showing it. But if that's not happening, it's like they're dating really badly to not check in and, like, see what's going on. Everyone's here for the chaos. Everyone is just injecting true nightmare energy.
Sweet, sweet fantasy baby. Mariah Carey is one of the most successful singers of all time. Wouldn't you agree, Chrissy?
Yeah, totally.
But her rags to riches story isn't exactly a fairy tale. And on an all-new season of Even the Rich, you'll hear the astonishing story of Mariah Carey's rise to fame and the heartbreak and trauma she survived along the way. Billboard's named Mariah Carey Artist of the Decade in the 90s. She's won 5 Grammys, sold more than 100 million albums worldwide. But in the late 90s, it all came crashing down, leaving the world to wonder, would she ever reach the heights of popular stardom again? I can't believe Mariah Carey really did this all. Anyways, you should listen to it. Listen to Even the Rich on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and you can listen ad-free by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app. Yeah, I mean, the truth is, Piper doesn't know how this works. It's her first time down there. She made that abundantly clear throughout the entire episode. So she doesn't know that many people came down and people are like, yeah, just go talk, like, before you ask someone out, go just talk to everyone. Like that,
right.
That's the show element of it all. And I have no doubt that there it is, like, well, it's your date card, do what you want. And they just kind of let her do what she want. And she chose Brendan. But this is where it just gets really, Brendan's clearly excited. Brendan says yes immediately. And this is where it just, I was truly just in shock. I mean, usually things don't surprise me as someone who knows I've seen it all. I've been there. Like a lot of the stuff that happens, I kind of was like, okay, whatever. I know the audience makes a big deal about it, but like, I know why this happened. But I just couldn't understand Brendan's approach to this all. And just the overall criticism of Brendan is, fine, it's a TV show. You don't take it seriously. I don't got a problem with that. You and Piper are not the first couple to be talking. Everyone's doing that. They all want to be on the show. They all want followers. I don't have a problem with any of that. The complete lack of empathy towards Natasha from both Piper and Brendan, that's where I'm lost by that.
And it verges on it. Well, their whole plan hinges on Natasha's too stupid to know what we're doing, and Natasha should be grateful that I even was around her.
Yeah.
And I think those two things, you can plan this. We're going to come down. We're going to go on a date. Just stay there till I get there. Again, like I said, but if your plan hinges on assuming that someone is stupid and assuming that someone has no better options for whatever reason, it's just a really bad look. And then for me watching it, it's like adding in Natasha's one of the older women there, if not the oldest woman there at this point. And she's also like the only dark-skinned Black girl on the beach at this point. And there's so many narratives about those two groups of people in particular and their lack of attractiveness, or they should be grateful for what they get, or they're cute for what, with a caveat that it just, if it was unintentional, it was it was whoever Brendan had interest in him in the beginning, whatever. But it is so bordering on mean girl shit.
No, cruel. Yeah, just cruel.
Inject that in there. It's so cruel. And then for Brendan to go talk to Natasha and not talk to her like a human being, to speak in he's like a weird Bachelor Nation algorithm bot that's just spitting out nonsense phrases. If I hear the word spark one more time, I'm gonna lose my mind. These motherfuckers are transformers because it is all about the spark.
Yeah.
Okay, it is insane the way that they are, the way that he's not being a real person. Because I think if Natasha heard, I like Piper, we went out a few times, I think I got to pursue this, I'm really sorry, you're a great person, and that was it, she probably could have handled it and processed it. But hearing I understand that the coincidence of my seeing Piper and the sparkaticity of our romantic connection must be explored. That's nonsense.
Total nonsense. And in fact, Natasha's been on the show. Natasha is a friend. I've gotten to know her. She's one of the smartest people in Bachelor Nation, just in general. So I've had Brendan on. I don't know Brendan outside of having him on as an interview via Skype. I've never met Piper. I don't know, but I do and Natasha showed it, right? Natasha owned Brendan in their last conversation.
Over.
Just completely owned him. The first conversation she had, she was she was willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. And I guess, yeah, sure. Natasha showed her vulnerability, and that's what's the problem, right? Natasha's willingness to hear Brendan out had nothing to do with her lack of intelligence or not being able to decipher. It's so that she liked him, talking to Natasha after she got done filming, and I was texting with Natasha yesterday and last night. She was worried about the show being, I was just like, you're going to be fine. You're a rock star. I know you're but she was hurt, right? So as someone who gets their feelings hurt and gets truly rejected, they always are afraid to watch that because you don't want to watch yourself be rejected. It sucks, but that spoke to how sincere, or how she wasn't a willing participant in this game that Brendan and Piper were showing. We'll get into this later, but Brendan and Piper decided to lean into owning it on social media. And I liked that Brendan called out hey, I respect that you're owning you're here for the wrong reasons. And then I went and saw Piper's, and it was the all fair in love and war. And I was like, well, wait, Natasha had no idea. She wasn't part of your game, or there was no upfront contract of Natasha and Piper saying, all right, we both like the same guy. To the best woman go the spoils. There was none of that.
Right.
No, it was all behind her back. And here Natasha being a smart person feels extra silly because she is now looking back being like, I should have saw the signs. But all she was is this a vulnerable person who liked a guy and was willing to give a guy she liked a chance to prove that he wasn't just bold-faced lying the entire time.
Right. And I've been the Natasha in this situation where you like a guy and he's saying like, oh, I don't know, and I got to go slow. So you're like, okay, I respect that because I respect your feelings as an individual person. I'm not going to trample on whatever you're saying. And then to see your vulnerability, to see your empathy and understanding for another person be taken advantage of, like that's even harder. Because if Natasha had said, you know, cool, I'm going to just go try and make out with everybody else I can. If you'll be here if you're here and I'll come back to you. But she really put in the work to try and make something with Brendan happen. And it's not just my feelings were involved, but my time and my energy and my consideration of another person was looked at as a plaything and wasn't valued. And that hurts so much more. You know, it hurts to get rejected. It hurts to get rejected from someone you like. And then it hurts even more to get rejected from someone you like that you tried to make it work with. And I think that also is where watching her, I was having those feelings of like, man, I know when I've tried and that person didn't work out, that feels awful.
Totally. And because it's Paradise, Natasha has seen other people come and people get asked out on dates and then go on dates only to come back and still like want to pursue the original relationship. So, you know, Natasha must feel like she's like, I'm not gonna, you know, as someone who's independent and whatever, I'm just gonna be poised. I'm gonna let this play out. I'm gonna believe in myself. And Brendan and Piper like use that against Natasha.
Yeah.
For like not, you know, for not, you know, kind of being Demi or Mari of like just kind of in your face, aggressive disappointment and talking shit right away.
Yeah. When someone uses the qualities that you like about yourself and that you value about yourself to get what they want and to use it against you, that is the stuff that is really bonkers and can mess you up. And that's also how I know that, you know, I've seen people talking like, oh, maybe Natasha was in on it. It's like, why would you be in on that?
Okay. Yeah.
Like,
I didn't see that.
Why would you be in on that?
Natasha mentioned that to me yesterday. I was like, where are you seeing this? Like, but I was in New York. I ran into Natasha after filming. You know, she didn't give me the details other than the fact that she was like, she was really hurt. Like from the time I saw her, she felt rejected and let on and played. And all I can say is that was real for Natasha. And people like, yeah, there are real, like, you know, it's so fascinating with Bachelor Nation. It's like, either it's like, I keep trying to be like, there's two things can happen at the same time. It can be a TV show. It can be edited. We should be careful just the conclusions we jump to an edited TV show, and it can be real and it can hurt people and people can have real feelings and real emotions. And you know what I'm saying? Like it can be both.
Yeah.
And Natasha, while it might be edited and we definitely didn't see everything, Natasha was truly let on and she was truly hurt and she and it was so
something had to be there for them to edit. And the something that was there was someone's feelings being hurt.
Correct. 100%. So here's what was just kind of like shocking to me and almost comical. So Brendan and like, you know, obviously Brendan, the bullshit about like this is where I was shocked was Brendan. Like, did he really think that like anyone was going to believe that he was surprised? Like, oh, this is, wait, what did they say? Hold on.
Read it?
Yes, read it for me.
This was obviously a coincidence, I suppose.
Is it obvious or do you suppose?
I obviously suppose that.
I mean, like, what the fuck does that mean? Like,
and it's like, is it a coincidence? You are both famous Bachelor people who are also hot. Like, why would they not put you here together?
Also, you did at least. The only thing he acknowledged is that they did hang out, right?
Right.
Well, you're just an idiot if you don't talk about it. So like clearly you weren't totally shocked. Come on. Like, you know.
Well, Well, that's the thing. And if we get into Brendan and Piper's date, it's like they didn't get their story straight.
My God.
And Brendan relied on, I said this in my recap for Monday. It's like, do not put the weight of your plan on the shoulders of a giddy 23-year-old girl. Like, that is not going to work. There's a reason that all of them in Ocean's 8 were over 40. Okay. Like Brendan and Piper did not get the story straight. And Piper was convinced that this was going to be a romantic weekend with her boyfriend and didn't think to like tell anybody the story. And you saw on the date, Brendan being like, wow, it's so amazing that you're here. This person that I've only met twice in my life. Wink. Like, why are you?
So it was so fast. Like, I found that to be so shocking and fascinating. And just to provide context for the people, like, yeah, like they had to get their story straight before they showed up. Okay, fine. You can, again, people do that. And they don't. Like the producers know the show, like they had no time. They know these people aren't thinking, they're playing checkers, not chess. They know that. So they make sure that they're mic'd the whole time. And Brendan and Piper are just the whole time we're just dying to like try to be like, what's up? And they just never had a chance. And my only explanation for why they were so foolish with what they talked about is because they didn't know what else to do. And it was kind of fascinating because, like, you're right, Brendan's talking to Piper kind of like with his eyes, and he always talks slow, but I felt like he talked extra slow because like he wanted Piper to like hear every single word to understand what he was trying to tell her.
He was like, listen to me. We have met twice. I have dated other people on the beach. We are casual. Date with me, casual. And Piper was just like, my favorite. She goes, listen, I'm not deaf to all the murmurs. And I was like, one, what does that mean?
Yeah.
But two, she came in clearly being like, I don't care what anyone thinks. I got here. I gave you the date. My job is done. That was Piper's side of it.
Yeah.
She was like, we're on the date. It's done. We in this together now.
Totally.
And Brendan was like, there's still another part of this we have to do to sell it. And Piper was like, but do you want to talk about how many followers I have?
Yeah.
Like, what is going
It was
on, man?
nuts. And that's the thing is like Brendan and Piper have hung out several times, obviously. And I am shocked that Brendan doesn't know this about Piper yet. We know this from Matt James' season. The producers know these people. Like, obviously I have relationships, so I hear about people's personalities outside of the show. And Piper is a very earnest person. When Matt rejected her, she doesn't seem like, and that's not she's very literal, right? And
yes. Yeah.
And so why Brendan didn't know this, like, why didn't they discuss, like, what's so fascinating is that Piper, when Brendan's trying to like talk to Piper in code, and Piper's like, whoa, like, to your point, Ali, she was like, what the, like, no, I don't, what is this? She's trying to keep it real, I guess, to her credit. She's not thinking, 2 steps ahead. And then what was so fascinating, and I haven't asked the producers about it because I have to wonder if even they were shocked and surprised. Like, I sometimes there's always these moments where, like, and I always tell people, like, listen, they're great at creating fixed situations and they have ideas of and guesses of how they hope things play out, but they don't know. And once in a while, even they are truly blown away by what happens. And I gotta guess that they were also blown away because Piper was kind of like, wait, what the fuck? To Brendan, I like, bro, we've been like, we're basically boyfriend and girlfriend. And then Brendan was forced to basically have like a real life conversation with his girlfriend, or he had to decide either to like tell his girlfriend that they're not really boyfriend and girlfriend, or on camera, totally mic'd up,
the whole plan,
can give away the whole plan to Piper. And it's just like, did he not think that America would figure out what he was saying when he said things had to be done and certain for me to be here? And I've been like saying this in every episode this season. Brendan made a point where he goes, had I told people I knew you were coming and that I was here for you, I wouldn't have been
They
home.
would have sent me home. Yeah.
And my response to Brendan is, that is exactly what you should have done. And you should have absolutely risked going home, because even then, so what? You can still be with your girlfriend or whatever, and you wouldn't have to screw over or hurt an innocent person like Natasha. And they probably would have figured a way to keep you around, because, you know, these fan favorites come in with such hubris and confidence by their followers and their fan favorites. Like, instead of coming down cocky and saying things like, yeah, you know, I don't want to sound cocky, but a bunch of the women liked me, come down with listen, like, they're probably going to keep me around. And don't say this, but just have confidence in the fact that, like, there's a fighting chance. It is a TV show. They'll figure it out. But I'm like, the only advice I've ever given to anyone who goes on Paradise when they call me up is, don't lie. And don't lie to anyone.
You can't.
Don't lie don't lie on camera. Don't lie to producers. The truth will always protect you. And it just shocked me that Brandon just chose to, like, what's the worst that could happen if you go home and Piper shows up? You know what probably would have happened? Brendan might have even left the beach, and then Piper would have showed up and been like, well, where's Brendan? And they would have figured out a way to, like, have Piper,
Brendan come back,
chase down, like whatever. They would have figured it out, and just trust that process. And the fact that they were so
because if you're so convinced that being on TV will work, you gotta trust that TV will work for you.
Yes.
And he put all his trust in Piper to work it for him, and she was not prepared for that, because, like you said, she was like, my boyfriend is suddenly saying that we don't know each other, that we don't like each other, and she freaked out and forced everything to come out, and now he's having to be like, well, I did some stuff. I gotta let you know that I did some stuff, and then by the end of it, they're like twirling their evil mustaches, being like, ha ha ha, everyone's going to hate us and it doesn't matter. And it's like, yo, what's the upside? My question is, like, really, what is the upside? If you want to get followers, get sponsorships, all this stuff, I don't know that world. I'm like, I don't even have my blue check on Twitter, so I don't even know. But it's like,
wait, you don't?
Like, I don't have a blue check.
That's what a Twitter.
I'm like,
well, Jesus.
I have an Emmy nomination and no blue check. We're keeping it real. But I was like, what's the upside? What are you getting that is worth risking your entire reputation when they show all this? Because they're gonna edit all of this in. Like, did they think they were gonna edit the moments where they're talking about what they had to do out? Like, I don't understand the plan beyond step 3.
You're absolutely right. And I will tell you, as someone who does know this world, there is no upside, because the number of followers you have is not the only barometer for what your followers mean, you know? So especially in Bachelor world, where it's highly competitive and they're introducing 60 to 90 new Bachelor Nation people every year, and the amount of people who are disappointed with your experience relative to, like, the followers and all that is, you know, for the people who are lucky enough and incredibly blessed and fortunate to get any type of brand deal is few and far between relative to, like, how many people come on. And so, like, yeah, Brandon has a nice follower count, but after this week, what is Teeth Whitening Central? Are they whatever? I don't know. Whatever. Are they going to hire Brendan, or are they going to hire all the other people available to them in Bachelor Nation with the similar followers who didn't do? They basically rendered their followers useless. There's this whole count out there.
They evaporated any goodwill they had coming in, and I think both of them had a lot of goodwill coming in.
So much goodwill.
And it's like, okay, without the goodwill, like you said, like, without the goodwill, your followers mean nothing. If the perception of you is you're a liar, why does anybody want to work with you? Like, because not even they can hire another Bachelor person, they can go hire another model. Like, how many aspiring models are there out in the world that would love to go be a brand partner for, Fashion Nova baby or something? Like, who even cares about you?
Yeah.
Who cares? Like, you didn't think this through.
and that's the other fascinating part, because again, like, I'm, as someone who know, like, it's sometimes I do have a hard time watching this, or the people and the Bachelor tropes and the, again, the plan that Brendan and Piper had. I don't have a problem with the crime. I have a problem with the execution. And again, we covered the Natasha of it all, and that's the big problem. But like, it's just interesting, Bachelor Nation. But like, Bachelor Nation, they all know everyone's there for followers. They don't want you to make it so obvious. They don't want you to throw it down their throat and in their face. And I guess there's a fine line, because like, I do like it when people own who they are and they're just freaking honest about like their intentions. And I do wonder if they would have gotten less. I do believe it was at the very end of the episode, Brendan's comments and conversations with Natasha that really sealed their fate, because
oh yeah, it was the zero prospects. What else were you gonna do? I think if he had just owned up to it and been like, listen, I'm sorry, I didn't know how to stay around. And I think the main issue is day one on the beach when the rumors showed up. Are you dating Piper? He should have said, yes, we're dating. Yes, I've dated her, and I hope she shows up. But if she doesn't, I'm all in on you. If she does, I got to explore that relationship.
Yeah.
He should have said that. And all of this would be understandable and would have made sense. And it's just setting the expectations, setting the boundaries. Like, if she doesn't show up, or if Piper's interested in somebody else, I'm all in on you, Natasha, or whoever he decided to scam. And if she does show up, I'm going to go try and make that work, because that's happened before. And everyone is cool with that framing. It was I never met her.
I literally did that on Paradise.
Yes.
And I was I was up front with everybody, and I was like, send me home. Week 2, the women had the roses, and I went in the rose ceremony having no idea where I was getting my rose. And I was like, I might be going home tonight. I'm pretty sure they'll figure it out. I trusted the process, but I was like, I could be wrong. No one guaranteed me anything. No one promised anything. And I was the last rose called, and my friend Haley gave me the rose, and I was like, all right, cool. But I just was not going to lie. I just was like,
don't lie.
I don't understand. I don't understand why.
Which I also think is, like, again, the beauty of the fuck boy. They know when to lie, and they know when to make the truth sound interesting if the truth is hurtful. And I don't think any of these guys that are trying to pull these scams are deft enough and have the gift of gab enough to make, I'm going to tell you this awful thing that I'm about to do, and I'm going to make it sound like it was your idea. Like, none of them are able to do that. And like, Brendan and Natasha could have sat down and been like, I'm interested in these people. I'm interested in these people. We're going to see what goes on between us. But he never made the worst option sound interesting.
Yeah.
And that's what telling the truth is.
Last night, Brendan and Piper doubled down on social media. We mentioned, I'm glad Brendan owned it. Right. And then we talked about Piper saying that, and I gotta believe, and it must be true, because I think they knew they were gonna get some heat. I don't think they fully appreciated, because they clearly just, when they were sitting on the cabana talking, mic'd up, and so just to provide some, when you're there's times where you're having a chat and there are cameras surrounding you, you see the cameras, you're being filmed, and there's plenty of other times where they're just kind of around, and there's so many things going on, and it is incredibly easy to forget, but they just completely decided to be like, nah, they're probably filming something else. And yeah, I'm pretty sure Brendan was having a conversation with a producer when he, cause you only saw Brendan, and he said, And like when Brendan said the whole lack of prospect, I was shocked. I was like, you're really going there? That's your move? Like you're like, why? Like, I don't even stand under, even if you felt that way, why say it? But also, why would you say that? There's clearly it doesn't even make sense. There's clearly a bunch of guys on the beach, many of which, like, what is James doing there in a sense that, like, Aaron, like, he's not in any real relationship. Like, there's so many available people on the beach. Like I don't get it.
Yeah, it's also like that is so revealing of where he was coming from, that I think that's the thing that is the worst crime. Because it is, again, it's that she's stupid, that, you pulled, that you're so superior, and that she should be grateful for you. And again, it plays into those things of like, Natasha's 33, which like in this universe is like decrepit and ancient. And she, I don't know who she likes to date or what type of person she likes to date, but like having someone say that about a dark-skinned Black woman who's over the age of 30, which is like two Venn diagrams that interact, it's like that reveals how you view other people in a way that, like, there's no goodwill coming from me at all after that, because it is just such a transactional way to view people. And if you can't provide anything, if you can't get anything going, then you're not worth my empathy or my attention.
Yeah.
And clearly Natasha was being very kind and was being very understanding and had a lot of empathy for Brendan.
She was so patient.
She liked him.
So patient.
And to say that about somebody that was kind to you and empathetic to you, even if you were leading them on, is like just true. They talk about like trash bag behavior. That's the trash bag behavior.
Yeah.
And it's such an awful, and it's basically saying this woman isn't attractive enough. So why should I think about what happens to her next? Is like what is baked into that kind of thinking. And it's like, if you're 31 going after a 23-year-old, looking at the women your own age, being like, nobody's interested in them, so why should I care? She should be grateful. It's like, okay, that's how you think about women. Like, that's how you think about women, sir.
I agree with everything you just said. In the conversation that Brendan had with Natasha, and we've talked about this in the past, and this was all just cruel, horrible, and he definitely lacked any empathy, which was really highly disappointing. And then the comment about selective hearing Brendan told Natasha, which is also just like a dick thing to say.
And for him to be like, I don't understand the relevance of this question. Sir, are you doing an objection in court? Like, you are not a lawyer. You need to walk it back.
Also, like, this is where I love Natasha, because like she owned him in this conversation. I'll tell you the relevancy. Because like you going to Boston on your own, Piper, probably means you hooked up, and that's what she walked him to it. Yeah, and
the second he realized, he was like, "Oh, I don't see the relevance."
Yeah. Oh, I love that she just like, oh, so she went there. Oh, was she alone? Yes. Like Natasha is like, oh, y'all hooked up. Like, I know you hooked up. So you hooked up with a girl and then came down here, regardless of whatever labels you guys want to call it or not. I'm assuming that's what she was getting at, and rightfully so. Yeah. Those are great questions to like walk through and totally own Brendan.
And when she was asking Piper too, she's like, she didn't say, he told me you met 2 months ago. When did you meet? She just said, when did you meet? And she said, 2 months ago. And she says, oh, he said a month ago. Now Piper can't walk it back. Yeah. How many times have you hung out? 10 times. Oh, that's interesting. He told me twice. And again, Piper was not sort of smart enough or with it enough to like see what was happening and be like, oh, well, what did Brendan say? Or I don't remember. I don't have a number on it. She just was like, we met 10 times. 10 times is a lot of times. I got people, like, I got friends that I don't see 10 times a year. Like, that's a lot of time.
That's a lot of time. Also, and then Brandon was just like, well, I don't remember saying 2. I know, yeah, you're right. You didn't say 2. You said a couple times. And a couple is 2. A few, if you said a few, maybe you could have, like, tried to convince us.
I have this argument all the time. A couple is 2, maybe 3. A few is definitely like 3 to 5.
Yeah.
Like you said a couple.
You said a couple.
That's down there.
That's 2. Like, yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
So do we even want to talk about, like, it's not, it's horrible. It's terrible. It's also not gaslighting. And I'm not saying that there's zero defense here. Brendan was terrible, but we just need to stop misdiagnosing what gaslighting is.
Someone can lie, and someone can lie to you and have it not be gaslighting, because he wasn't saying to Natasha, you know, throughout the whole conversation, the thing that you think is not true. He said, the thing that I said, you didn't like, you're misunderstanding, which is different than the thing that you believe isn't true. And it's very clear that Brendan had to tell himself certain things to allow himself to do this.
Yes.
And Natasha presenting the truth to him contradicted what he had to tell himself.
It was
and so I don't it's manipulative,
it's deceitful, it's cruel.
He's a liar. He is a liar.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was gaslighting her. Like there might have been, but just saying to someone, well, I don't think, you know, you had any prospects down here isn't gaslighting.
Yeah.
Or, you know.
And we only bring this up because gaslighting can and is a real thing. Let's just call it what it is. And that way, when you misidentify something, then it gives the opposition an opportunity to be like, well, he was, so like he was terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Brendan is blaming his bad memory, not Natasha's.
Yeah.
Is what I think sort of the line is there. He's saying, well, I don't remember.
And it's still totally dickish.
Can we talk about the microphone scratch?
Yeah.
What? This, so good. To me, I was like,
it's a common move.
I need to know what this is. I've never seen it. Have never worn a puka shell necklace with a microphone in it. But
it is a common thing people on the show do, that if they tap their mic like this, it will like you won't be able to pick up the audio. The problem is like Brendan like scratches it once and then
says the thing.
And then says it's like it doesn't turn off your mic, bro. Scratching it, like he got like a
you have to
constantly go like this and talk, like.
So he's trying to ruin the audio so they can't use it. Yeah. Okay. It's like on Real Housewives when they yell bravo, when Denise yelled bravo.
Bravo.
When Denise yells Andy Cohen bravo to turn on. Okay. But yeah, because to me, I was like, okay, I thought he was trying to see if it was on or if he was trying to like. No,
he was trying to
turn it around.
Further, more bad execution on Brendan's part. Like it's just, he scratched it once and then told his story. No, Brendan, you have to go like this.
These are the bank robbers that are getting locked in the vault and then have to call someone to let them out.
Yeah.
Like, well, even the camera angle was weird. I wonder if he knows that the cameras were even on them because they were like shooting through that leaf.
And for anyone, and I saw a couple out there on Twitter, anyone who wants to try to defend Piper and Brendan by saying they were set up by producers, it doesn't work. If the FBI puts up a sting operation and the robbers come in, crack open the bank, and there's no money there, they still go to jail. Like
they can't. Yeah, you can't be entrapped into something you were going to do.
Exactly.
If they convince you to do something you were never gonna do, sure. But if they wanted to be in paradise together, they 100%. Wanted to reap whatever followers.
And after Brendan articulated this to Piper, she literally thanked it. Like, yes, she was glad Brendan did what he had to do so they could be there.
Yeah, I think Piper was thinking he's gonna get all the asshole comments, and I'm gonna be like the girl that he did all this for.
Yeah,
and I'm not gonna get any of the bad the heat, which is. Again, bonkers.
Yeah.
But that was his comment to her. He's like, I'm the one. I wrote it down. It was the exact comment. Like, I'm the one who's sitting here who's going to be crucified. And you're sitting here oh, here it is. People are coming for my existence. And you're talking about Instagram. That's what he said to her.
Yeah. And then they both laughed about it. It was weird. And then Piper made a statement on Instagram this morning and talking about how it's just a TV show and I don't take it seriously. And honestly, everything she said, I don't have a problem with. And is in a lot of ways true. But she's missing the point, and so is Brendan after the fact, is just apologize to Natasha. Just show empathy to Natasha. I don't give a fuck about the show. Like, I don't care about your followers. I don't care that you got a free vacation. It's not bothering me. Just apologize to the one person who you hurt for real, because that's real. Natasha's feelings are real. The show might be fake. It might be edited. Like, a lot of your peers are also pulling the same bullshit in terms of showing up for TV, but you hurt someone. It's clear that she was hurt, and you're just completely dismissing it. So, like, just put out an apology to Natasha and then move on.
Yeah.
Like, So we get into episode 2.
More chaos.
More chaos. Really liked Titus. I liked what he brought as a new host.
Almost a Shakespearean. Yeah. He's like doing all the things in iambic pentameter. I was like, this is a real treat.
Yeah. Half the cast was just kind of above their pay grade of like, no, I thought it was great.
Abigail like whispering to people, he's on Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. Yeah. Have you seen Unbreakable? It's on Netflix. Like, I loved that.
Yeah, that was great. I love the plan. I mean, from, props to producers for this VIP party, which, wasn't so VIP. It was kind of sad looking, but whatever.
It was a high school dance.
It was a high school, it was a high school dance.
It was the cocktail night at your conference in Buffalo. Like, it was doing what it needed to do.
They threw a high school dance. Perfect. But it is so, like, it's such a setup. Again, it's just another sting operation that these people who are currently committing a crime don't know how to navigate, not how to get caught. Yeah.
Yes.
And so they show up, and then here we have the Chris drama of it all. We're jumping ahead, and we'll break down the Chris, but like, did you struggle the whole time? And, for those of you listening, we were very familiar with Twitter's reaction on Monday night's episode. We're recording this Tuesday morning, so we don't know how Twitter's going to react to Tuesday's episode. But as bad as Chris was, and as insincere as he was to Jasenia, I just didn't I loved how Riley and Joe broke it down.
Went after him.
But ran him out of town. But where was that energy
for
Piper and Brendan? It seemed
Here's my thought. Part of my theory is that Chris took Jasenia from Ivan, a couple that everybody liked. So it was not just a crime against Jasenia, it was a crime against Ivan. And as we all know from American history, a crime is not serious unless it also happens to a man. And so they had to it was like justice for this couple was, I think, fueling it. And because Jasenia could also have that moment of like, I left something that was good for this guy, Chris, to add another layer of upsetness. And Natasha is in their minds, a single person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wonder if that's part of it, that the people that like Ivan or that liked them together can kind of like, you took Jasenia away from Ivan for false pretenses rather than you just harmed a person, and that's bad.
I think you're absolutely right. I also, now literally that you're talking, I'm having another thought. None of the cast also were privy to these conversations that Piper and Brendan were having. I'm assuming, like myself, like watching it late last night, like you forget that, like, some, when early in the episode when Kendall showed up and she's like, "Oh, I wish I could be a fly on the wall." Cut to them talking. We get to be the fly on the wall, right? And they don't. So I think part of it too is they didn't get to see that, and
they saw Chris making out.
They saw Chris do all of this. They didn't see them. They didn't see Brendan and Piper talk about their plan. They didn't see Brendan say it and do those shitty things to Natasha. I'm pretty sure Brendan made the comments about prospects to a producer because we only saw Brendan and we didn't see who he was talking to. Like, they would have showed who he was talking to if it was a cast member.
Right. But Natasha did tell Ivan. She said, "This is your boy. You gonna ride for your boy?"
Oh, she did. Oh, I missed that.
Yeah, she called
him
out.
she said to Ivan, because Ivan was like, oh, maybe, I'm sorry this happened. Like, I forget what he said, but she was like, that's your boy. You gonna stand up for him?
Oh yeah, that's a good point. And so that there is, and that's where
I don't know if she's telling people everything, which I would understand if she was like, I'm not gonna say everything that he said or everything that I'm noticing, but she has told people. I think people know what's up.
Yeah. Also, and this is where you can criticize the Noahs or the Rileys or the Joes or whatever. They all clearly like Brendan. And they don't give a fuck about Chris. They don't know Chris. Joe is just like, who the fuck are you? I don't even know you. We gave you a shot. You burned a bridge. Like, you're not part of, it's all high school, right? Chris was like the guy who transferred from a different school out of town. And we're like, all right, we'll give you a shot. And he like on day 2 burned a
messed
bridge.
It up. Yeah.
And so I think part of that lack of energy is coming from they're far more reluctant to call out, as Natasha said, their boy than some guy they don't give a fuck about.
Well, it's also like Piper's and Serena are really close. And you look at how Serena P and Joe are like kind of the king and queen of paradise.
Yeah, you're right. There is a little bit.
And like Serena is the one who tells Piper, like, you're going to get so much airtime. Like, your name came up so much before you. So it's also like both participants in this couple are like have the social standing within this group of people to not be held accountable in the same way that Chris is.
100%. And social standing on that beach absolutely matters. It influences so many decisions, and it's something that the show totally takes advantage of and uses against the cast people. That all being said, let's break down the Chris and how do you pronounce her name? Because it's not Alea. It's
Alana.
Not Alana.
It's Alana.
No, it's not Alana.
It's Alana.
It's Alana.
Clench your jaw to say it.
As she was saying it, I went Atlanta without the T.
Yes.
Okay.
I heard her say it, and I was like, "That okay?
Helpful.
That can be my way in."
Helpful. Okay. So yes, they have the VIP party. She sews up. I mean, her comp, hot Ursula. She like from the Little Mermaid.
Yes,
she's
hot person Ursula.
Hot person Ursula. Yes.
When Ursula goes on land.
Yes. I mean, it's like she plays the role of the temptress so well. I mean, she's a beautiful woman. She comes in, and she even like just the way she talks and carries herself is very seductive.
And you can tell that they both, and this is sort of jumping ahead, but they both are like, let's do the Bachelor thing.
Yeah.
And let's say the Bachelor words. And they're very much like, we're going to be on a journey. And it's like, bitch, calm down. Nobody's here for you like that.
And that's why the show will often bring on your people who go on home night one or night 2. Chris is a unique character because, as we mentioned last week, the producers knew that he inundated himself with a bunch of other cast people in San Diego and was forming these relationships, and they were hopeful this drama that these friendships or these relationships that Chris was inserting himself in would pan out, and it obviously did. It's interesting that because last week, the internet was abuzz about the potential relationship that Jasenia and Chris had before the show, and then Jasenia came out and this literally admitted it on the show, but she was already the victim of Chris and Alana with it. Alana.
You got it.
Alana,
you got it, buddy.
That she was like, she talked about how they knew each other, and it was this kind of how many relationships was Chris in with Bachelor women. And you're right, it's so funny that they will cast people because they know that the people who haven't really been through the process, who had a cup of coffee on the show, don't really know the show, and they are so prone to all the tropes and playing into the role and not being real.
And it's like, I wonder if they're like, oh, that must have been the reason I went home. I didn't play the game. I didn't use the right language. So now I'm gonna really give them the love story that they want. And it's like, we don't believe this is a love story between you and Alana. This is not y'all two people, and you want a vacation and you want to fuck somewhere where you can see the ocean. That's it. And I'm like, nobody think. and that's sort of like it's like, don't pretend you're in love. Don't pretend you're like, I just got to see where the spark goes. Like, we don't buy it. And everyone can like smell the bullshit on you. And that doesn't get, you don't have any leeway because we're already like, who are you? What are you doing? You jumped on the most popular person here. So now we're like, are you clout chasing? Are you trying to get with the most popular girl? And then you come in with all this when you're trying to defend yourself, all this nonsense. When he's talking to Joe and Riley, he's like, it was undeniable that there was a spark. That's not how humans talk. Like, no one has, my boyfriend has never talked to me about the spark that we have.
An undeniable.
Like, the undeniable spark. He's like, I don't know, your butt's nice. Like, you're really funny and I care about you. Yeah. Like, but he's never like, we have an undeniable spark. Like, that's not totally what happened.
It's always, it's fascinating because it's like the people who go out and get sent home early, like I said, they don't know much about the show. And it's a combination of being fans, reading a bunch of blogs on the internet, thinking it's bullshit, but still wanting to be a part of it. And they seem to be incapable of being authentic. Like they are often like, and that's why they get on the show, because the producers bank on the fact that they're not there for the right reasons, literally.
And again, I think it's also this idea of like, for someone like Chris, I don't know, no one knows him. But like before this, I don't know if he's been getting a lot of girls or if he's been really popular or whatever, but he's suddenly in a situation where he can like be really popular and get with a lot of people. And what you do in that moment reveals like how you think about things. So the fact that when he wanted to go talk to Atlanta, he literally said to Jasenia, BRB, and tapped her on the shoulder and like ran away. It's like, no, ran away, BRB, and like ran away. But to be, if there's someone else there that you're interested in and you want to talk to, the mature, reasonable thing that everyone can respect is to say to the other person, hey, I'm going to go talk to Atlanta. She's going to pull me for a second. You know, I'll be back. And not to say BRB and run before Jasenia like has time to turn her head. But if you're, you know, if you get to be a cool guy, if you get to be a little scamp for a second, you go start just doing weird shit. And clearly that was what was going on with Chris.
When the going gets tough, that's when you show who you really are, or that's when you show what your relationship's made of, et cetera, et cetera.
And he had no guilt when he was with Atlanta, no guilt on the date, no turmoil, but he wanted to fake it in front of everybody else. And it's like when he was making out with her, when whatever Disney Channel original princess was singing at that party, that's Chris. Like that's Chris. Olivia Holt. Yeah. Like that's Chris. Yeah. When he was just fully making out with her on the dance floor, doesn't care what anybody else thinks. It's like, cool, you think you're a big guy because you got to kiss two girls in one day. Instead of like being honest.
Yeah, in front of Jasenia. And that's the thing. And I absolutely love that Riley and like I like, you know, Riley clearly wasn't, they showed glimpses of him, but he was just there. He wasn't pursuing relationships. He was observing, and I loved it because he was absolutely right. Like, he called out Chris for that bullshit, which was giving zero fucks about, like, if you want to make out with two girls, fine. Like, you know, Riley probably was like, I've done that, whatever. Maybe it wasn't my best moment, but like, it was this complete lack of disregard, again, for someone's feelings. It's, you know, very similar to the Brendan and how he treated Natasha. It was like, just try to be a gentleman. Try to show that you're giving a shit about someone's feelings.
And thinking that everybody else gonna ride for him. That's the other, like, Chris doesn't have enough allies on the beach. If you're a guy and you're gonna be like, I'm gonna go to the bar and I'm gonna make out with a bunch of people and I'm gonna make out with two girls that are friends or whatever, it's because, you know, you're like, all my guy friends that are with me aren't gonna tell my girlfriend at home because you ride or die with them. I don't know if that's the best thing, but you know, your boy's gonna ride with you. You know, that when your girlfriend calls and says, hey, was so-and-so with you? You'd be like, yes. And he's here right now. But Chris doesn't have anybody to do that for him. No. So when he got back to the resort, everybody was like, whoa, you made out with Alana right in front of Jasenia. That sucked.
Yeah.
That was bad. You shouldn't have done that. And he was expecting everybody to hype him up or at least keep their mouth shut. It's like, why would I remember I was working a job and somebody asked my coworker to do something like vaguely illegal so that they could like get a weird it was some weird like discount thing. And my coworker just looked this customer in the eye and said, "Ma'am, who are you that I should lose my job for you?" And she stared at this woman's face, and the woman was like, "What?" And she goes, "I'm asking you, why are you so important to me that I should lose my job for you?" And that was what everybody said to Chris when he got back to the resort. He said, "Who are you that we should all ruin our friendships, that we should ruin our relationship with Jasenia because you made out with this woman that we don't know? Who are you that I should do this for you?"
Totally. And just like, I love how Riley called out the moping. It's just like, yeah, people mope on the beach, but it's because they're getting broken up with. And why Chris thought that he could just swerve in, make out with Alana, and then come back as if like he's the victim. Like, what was that? I don't like. I mean, if you want to feel, he's not a good enough actor, and he's not a good enough liar. If you can't do one of those things, you're not getting away with it. He's neither of those things. He's also like reading the wrong playbook. You know, if you want to wake up and feel bad about what you did, then just just be like, I wouldn't even have believed him had Chris woke up and said, "Hey, I'm sorry for what I did. It was wrong." Because I would have been like, "You're an adult man. Like, how did you not know that was wrong?" So that wasn't one slip up. That was a prolonged activity in one night. Yeah, exactly, all night long. And then the next day he's moping, but also says yes to the date. And he goes to the group and said, "You all might be mad at me." Doesn't talk to Jasenia.
That was so funny. He was like, "I'm going to have an uncomfortable conversation. Attention, everyone. I would like to say something and then leave." Yeah. Not talk to Jasenia. And I just want to give props to Jasenia. Like, I really had no opinion on Jasenia. She's obviously striking. She's beautiful. Like, she didn't have a relation with Matt James in his season all that much, like whatever. But I really loved like how she handled the whole situation. I love that she removed herself. She said a line when she got back to the beach. She said, and I'm only pointing this out because even Natasha was guilty of this. Now, granted, we've all been there because we've all liked someone and we look back and thought, "Oh, I was dumb. Like I was foolish because I liked him." But Jasenia said, he's showing me how he feels. I don't need to wait around to talk to him. He is showing me with his actions. And I love that Jasenia called that out. And she's like, I got to see what I got to see. I'm good. Now, granted, what Chris did was way more in the face than what Brendan was a far more like, trying to be Machiavellian about it. But nevertheless, I just want to give props to Jasenia for absolutely like just owning it, not pouting, just, she really showed her like strength and independence. And I really, really quite liked her this episode. And kept shutting him down. Absolutely. Yeah. And being like, "There's no discussion here. There's nothing for us to talk about. Neither of us owe each other anything because of what you did." Like she laid it out super clearly of like, "This is because of what you did. So now I'm done. And I'm sorry, you don't get to have a problem with that." Which is exactly the way that you should handle it. Totally. Like, if for someone you're not seriously dating, not in love with, whatever, just be like, "Cool, you made a choice. I also get to make a choice. And my choice is you don't get access to me anymore as a person." Yeah. Which is like, that's the punishment that I'm a good person. You don't have access to me as a person anymore. Absolutely. So Jasenia with the big W this episode. I also want to just point out to the audience is like, for people, we talk about relationships on this show and some real world takeaway here. We always get a ton of questions, and you've talked to your friends, and when you're getting broken up with or whatever, or someone does something, and people will always say, "Well, why do they call me amazing? Why do they say," like, throughout these two episodes, you saw a bunch of guys, Kenny, Brendan, Chris, go up to all these women and say things like, "I think you're a great person. I think you're amazing. I've enjoyed my time with you," all while attempting to break up with them. And we saw it as like total bullshit.
And it's so obvious as a viewer. So in real life, when you are being complimented, just see that's what it is. Like, it doesn't mean they're, and again, props to Jasenia for like not even hearing it. She didn't let her insecurity or her ego hear the compliment. That is often what we do. Like, we're hurting and our ego doesn't want to feel bad. So like, wait, you have something nice to say about me? Oh, I'll listen. And Jasenia wanted none of that. And that takes a level of maturity that's, I think, we often take for granted.
Yeah. And I think it was clear, it was helpful that what he did, there was no ambiguity in it. Because I've been I've also been the Jasenia, where you're like, if there's any ambiguity in what the person did, if there's any explanation for it, then I can hear the compliment. That opens the door for them to start reasoning with me, and then they're not the bad person. But being able to be like, no, this is a boundary I have. This is a line I have. No, thank you. And it's like setting all those things for yourself and then checking in later, being like, and I think on these shows, on The Bachelor in particular, words get so much weight because you don't have as many like relationship actions available. Like, when you're in a relationship and you're dating someone, you can pick them up from the airport. You can, help take their dog somewhere. But here, all you have is words. So you got to really like set the boundary and like, here are the actions that are unacceptable. And it doesn't matter what words come with them. If the action is present, I will not be.
So we have a bunch of little minor storylines to cover before we wrap it up that just aren't as serious as these two main ones. But Becca and Thomas, you got Aaron and Tammy, and this whole triangle. The Tammy of it all is interesting because I really like that she said to Thomas, listen, at the end of the day, and it takes some guts to tell someone, I want you to like me. So do what you want to do, because of course I would rather have you not go on this date. I'd rather want you to not explore it, but like you do, and it's paradise. So whatever. She almost tries to be a little too cool, right? Because you almost wanted her to just be like, but I do like I want you to stay. It's like, and it's tough. Like, I don't fault her at all. That's the human side of it.
Yeah. It's that there's such a like desire to not be vulnerable, and telling someone that you like them and you don't want them to go on a date is a very vulnerable thing, because that gives them the opportunity to be like, no, or, well, I want to go date.
Yep.
And so it's the like, it's like a vulnerability hangover where she's like, oh, I was too vulnerable, or I should have been vulnerable and I wasn't. And you want to tell so many of these people on this dating show, in our lives, whatever. It's like, being vulnerable is going to get you the thing that you want. Yes. Even in the moment it feels bad. And like projecting the image of cool and strength and whatever, that is not going to get you what you want, because that is just hiding the vulnerability underneath. And again, it's like you're getting hurt on two levels. If you project cool and then get hurt, you're getting hurt on the cool level, so your ego, and then you get hurt on the vulnerability level of your like emotional subconscious. And it's the same thing happening with Demi and Kenny. Yeah. Is she in her mind, I don't know her, I'm watching this as a text, but like in her mind, sex is the way that she is valuable in relationships, and that's how she can prolong her contact with men. And when the sex doesn't work, that means she has to do something else, and those other things feel vulnerable, and the sex maybe doesn't, or she's telling herself the sex doesn't, and then she's getting hurt on her vulnerability, even when she thinks she didn't put it out there. And that is like the mind fuck that's happening for right now, all the women on the beach, because they don't want to be vulnerable, but they have to be vulnerable to get what they want. And they're just ending up getting hurt for their vulnerability anyway. So it's like, you might as well just be vulnerable and get hurt on only one level. Why get hurt on two levels?
Ali, I'm so glad I have you on. How do you know this? And you've never been on the show. And yet it's just like, and I was talking to Natasha yesterday during the day, and I was like, you look great. And she was I'm like, you got to understand your vulnerability. It's your ego. But trust me, you did all the right things. Like Natasha did it so well because she was willing to show us her hurt and her pain. And we absolutely loved her for it. Her ego was a little pissed. Her ego was like, why, girl, why are you showing? Like, why? But like, we love.
I remember I was dating someone and he was like a nerdy guy, but we were in like a casual sex kind of thing. And he was trying to be the cool guy. So he was doing all these weird fuckboy moves. And I was like, this doesn't seem like you. And I was telling it to my therapist and I was like, well, but it does, he did this thing and it was kind of weird, but it's just casual, whatever. And my therapist just went, well, it sounds like he doesn't care a lot about you. And I was like, oh my God. I've been telling myself that because it's this XYZ casual thing and it's fine that he does this, but if he doesn't care about me, even in this casual thing, I'm still getting hurt. I'm still being hurt. And it's like, I'd rather it's like, do I want to eat McDonald's for a week and feel bad at the end of the week, or eat like good, delicious food that takes longer to prepare and costs more money? It's like, I'm going to feel better at the end of that week. Yeah. Even though I'm being fed in both situations. So it's just that thing of like, I might as well just go for the person that I like and the person that treats me well, even if it's a little harder.
Totally.
I'm still getting hurt.
And that was
the realization. My therapist very calmly going, oh, well, it doesn't sound like he cares about you at all.
Yeah. And that's Kenny and Demi. Like, it's clear that Kenny does not like Demi. He's not into Demi. She's a fun hang. He definitely went into his fuckboyness with Demi. Yeah. And instead of just being Demi let her massive ego, and I say that as a friend, like, she's great, she's wonderful, but at her worst, she lets her massive ego take over, and she will own that. Like, Demi will own her mistakes. But yeah, she let her pride and her massive ego, instead of just like seeing for what it is, like you said, she got petty. She got mean with Mari. She started I mean, that is not the way I want to see my friends handle rejection.
Yeah.
And
because then you're hurt on the, like, when she kept going, but I'm so fun. Aren't I playful? It's like, I thought I gave you the thing that men are supposed to want, and I'm hurting. And the same with Tammy being like, I told him to go on the date, but why am I hurting? It's like, if you give someone the thing that you think they want, they're the only one that's happy.
Yeah. Anytime you have to convince someone, guy or girl, and you're starting to list off your qualifications, it's over. Like, you can't stump for yourself in a relationship. This is not how it works.
And to wrap up the Aaron, Tammy, Becca, Thomas, Aaron being like, this is what Tammy gets.
Thank you. Thank you. Aaron sucks. Sir,
relax. It's very clear he has a very narrow view of what,
yes,
what his women should do.
Thank you.
He heard that song, These Hoes Ain't Loyal, and he was like, finally someone said it. Like, get out of here.
Thank you. I just, Aaron's been this like fan favorite, and it's been the part of the drama on Katie's season, and he's been like the union leader to like rally the troops and like whatever. I wasn't a fan of that kind of shtick, but like, people like the drama, and he's a good looking guy. But yeah, I think he's incredibly emotionally immature, and these past 3 episodes have truly shown this. And you're right. Like, when he gets hurt, he gets mean, and he loses all self-awareness and perspective and accountability for his own actions. And Thomas is his, like, his an excuse, and Tammy, and there is no just like looking at like himself. When
he finds that and how he wants to talk about women, it's like, that's dangerous. That's bad.
He's been slut shaming two weeks in a row for like, what? You're on a fucking date, bro. You're on a fucking date with a runway model. Like, a runway model shows up, asks you out. You don't even hesitate to say yes.
What more do you want?
What more do you want? And while you are on a date, the woman who you barely have any relationship with gets a date card, asks out your, as he says, nemesis,
mortal enemy.
Like adult men should just not have mortal enemies and nemesis.
If you have a mortal enemy and you're over the age of 5 or under the age of 70, you did it wrong.
Yep. Thank you.
You did it wrong.
Thank you. Yeah. and then he finds out that Tammy goes out with and this essentially slut shames her. I don't.
But he finds out that Thomas went out with Becca.
Yeah.
And that somehow just deserts for Tammy, a person who is not involved
At all. Yeah, like, oh, the girl I'm not interested in anymore, that I put on the sidelines, also got her feelings hurt, and he got satisfaction out of that. And like, you know, like I think the overall theme that you've talked about, and I agree with you, is, you know, showing what people really show you, and if you know, when things don't go well for them, like where their priorities lie, and their lack of empathy or their joy they get out of other people's pain is so telling. And how, like, Thomas is that. I mean, and how,
like, dude, move on, dude. A like 6 foot tall runway model wants to like make out with you on a horse. Like, you won the breakup. Move on.
It's like, and then like finally with the Thomas of it all, I've figured out Thomas, because I've always had this complicated view of him, because I don't think he's this narcissist. I mean, I don't know him, so I can't certainly call him a narcissist or whatever. And he's definitely a full of shit guy. If Thomas would simply, I think I have an easy note and fix for Thomas if he's listening. Just stop using words like always, every. Stop using words that are definitive. Like, he goes on a date with Becca and he's like, I only wanted to go on a date with you. I always had a crush on you and stuff like that. Just be like, hey man, I was really excited when you asked me. Like, I didn't, like, you know, he oversells everything with these absolute phrases that he doesn't need to say,
because there's no specifics. There's no specificity in anything he says. Like, I'm looking back over what he said and he's like, it's okay to have angst and I don't want to live a life with what if sitting on the table. It's like, cool, that means nothing.
Yeah.
Like, that's on a throw pillow at a TJ Maxx. Like, that's not a thing you say to a person to get to know them. And so, but it is that, like, that's that bullshit meter that I'm going to speak in absolutes and all these things, because there's just no, and, you know, again, I don't know him, but it feels like there's no depth there that if he had, you'd want him to come out with so that you could understand him. And I think all these people sort of want to understand him, but the thing that he's giving is just these shallow platitudes.
It's a lack of maturity, probably a combination of him being gorgeous and 6'6" and getting away with it. Like, most people has simply nodded and said yes to him his whole life. And maybe this will be an experience where, you know, I give, like, it's the little things where I give Thomas credit, where, like, even the intro where Aaron's kicking the ball of the football, that's like they stole that from Josh and Me on Paradise. And like, so Thomas does have some stuff. Thomas has apologized. He has shown some self-deprecating humor. So I do believe that Thomas has a chance to mature, because clearly he has shown his immaturity and the fact that he hasn't done that. So, like, I like to think there is hope for Thomas to say, you know what, I don't need to be full of shit. I don't need to bullshit people.
And I think it's like, this is just my buzzword for the day, but like, it's that vulnerability of, like, if he says something specific, his whole life, people have liked him because he's hot and 6'6". Like, that opens a lot of doors, often to nightclubs. But it's like, if for the first time in his life, he says a real thing about himself or what he believes in the world, he says something with specifics and people like react poorly. It's like, oh no, I've like revealed something about myself and people don't like it. It's easier for me to just be platitudes guy and speak in generic vagaries rather than actually just demonstrating or developing a deeper personality.
Yeah.
Being hot is a curse, honestly.
Well, what it is
it robs so many of our greatest minds of their specificity and vulnerability.
It is a superpower that is hard to maintain and control and can work against you if you don't respect it.
Yeah, that is why I choose to stay fat and cute. Way less expectations.
Amen, girl.
Ali, it has really been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for gracing. Thanks for coming on. You definitely did not disappoint.
Thank you so much for having me. This is a treat.
Please come back again. We have Michelle's season coming up. We have Bachelor stuff like for the
there will always be content.
So please come back. Please let the people know where we can find you, follow you, read your other recaps and all the great things you're doing out there.
Yeah, so you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at WT Flanksteak. You can read the Vulture recaps of the Bachelor franchise on vulture.com. And I'm also a writer for Last Week Tonight, so you can check us out Sunday nights on HBO.
Awesome. Ali, thanks so much. And then next week, it sounds like there'll be more that maybe we'll see if the troops rally and hold Brandon and Piper as accountable as they held Chris. So we will see. But I don't know. Just so much to unpack. Thanks for listening, guys. Don't forget to send in your questions at asknick@castme.com. Cast with the K for Ask Nick episodes. Subscribe. Tell your friends. 5-star reviews. All that fun stuff. Make sure to follow Ali. It is absolutely a fantastic follow. Better than most things you see on the internet. If there is nothing else, we will see you tomorrow for the wonderful and interesting and deep Michael A. See you tomorrow. Hey guys, thanks for watching, but before you go, make sure you like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you don't miss any future videos, like our Mondays Ask Nick, especially if you're looking for some relationship stories and relationship advice, as well as our Wednesday interviews with your favorite celebrities and experts. See you next time.